Hi, everybody. This is Dr. Robyn MacKillop with Get That GED. And for this video, we are going to take standard form linear equations and turn them into slope-intercept form. So let me show you. That's a mouthful, but it's something you need to be able to do. It's kind of like recognizing a quadratic equation. You also have to be able to recognize an equation that you're going to have to move from standard form to slope-intercept form. So let's take a look. Let me switch my camera. All right. So these are standard linear equations. What we want to do is, and I'm going to push this up, we want to make all of these look like, actually, pull this down. We want all of these to look like slope-intercept form, which is y equals m, which is slope, times x plus b, which is your y-intercept. So y equals slope times x plus y-intercept. We want all of these to look like this in setup. And you can see, here's our y, here's our slope, or m, times x, and here's our y-intercept. But there's a couple of things we have to do before it will actually work. So let's start with number one. We're going to start by putting y equals. Then we're going to bring down 3x. And what happens here is interesting. You remember how linear equations go. You've got to get all the numbers to one side and all the variables to the other. It's the same idea. You steal from one side to give to the other. We're going to do the same thing over here. We're going to, because we already have an equal sign in the new one, we're going to take this 7 away from right here. And we're going to put it over on this side. So essentially we have y equals 3x minus 7. Now this is in slope-intercept form. We've got the y equals slope times x, plus b. In this case, it was minus because we took it away, minus 7. And what are you supposed to do with it once you get it in this form? Really, for now, you're just moving them from standard form to slope-intercept form. And we could graph him. Maybe we will. Depends on if I have time. All right, let's take a look at number 2. Again, we're going for this setup. So here, we're going to start with 2y equals 4x. This is a -8. So if we were going to move it over to the other side, we'd say plus 8 on this side, which means we've got plus 8 right here. So 2y equals 4x plus 8. This one we're not done with. Anytime you've got a number with the y, you have to get rid of that number because you want it to look like that. So we are going to divide out the 2, but that means we're dividing out the 2 on all the other numbers. What we do on one side, we do on the other. So 2y divided by 2 is y. Because this is a slope, I'm going to leave it in fraction form because that's your rise and that's your run, times x plus 8 divided by 2 is 4. So y equals 4 over 2, that's your slope, times x plus 4. 4 is going to be your y-intercept. All right, let's try this one. Now this one's out of order, doesn't matter. You're still going to put it in the y equals mx plus b. So we're going to start with y. Bring down your slope times x. And then this is positive 2. Remember, we're going to take it away from this side so we can include it on this side. So that's going to be negative 2. You are done with this one because it looks just like that. You don't have to take anything away from the y. Let's try this one up here. Again, a little bit out of order, but that's quite all right. We've got y equals x. Again, we've got negative 2 over here, so we would end up adding 2 to zero it out on that side and adding 2 over here. So this is going to be x plus 2. Now, there's still a slope in there because anytime you have a single variable, it's basically the same as a 1 in front of it. We just don't put the 1 in there because if it's just the variable, you can assume it's 1. And then we'll come down to this one. We've got negative 2x plus 5y equals negative 5. So we're going to start with the 5y equals, keep it in the slope-intercept form, negative 2x. And you'll notice I didn't change any of the signs on the x's. You don't. It's the sign on the tail end that gets changed because you take it away or you add it. And in this case, we've got negative 5, so we'd end up adding 5 to this side to zero it out and adding 5 to this side, which means this will be plus 5. But we're not done, are we? Because that y is not by itself. So we're going to divide out the 5, divide out the 5, and divide out the 5. And the reason I do it like that, because you could just say 5y equals negative 2x plus 5 over 5. Same thing. And then you just do each piece against that 5. I do it this way because you can see the slope. And I think that sometimes makes it easier to be able to see it. So here we've got 5y divided by 5 is y equals negative 2 over 5. That's your slope. That's your rise, negative 2. Go down 2 and over 5. Plus 5 divided by 5 is 1. 1 is your y-intercept. All right, let's do one more. And we've got 2y. We're going to convert this to slope-intercept form. Bring down negative 6x. Now, what's this 2 going to be? It's positive now. What would we normally do? We'd normally take it away, right? From both sides. So that gives us negative, I don't love this pen, negative 2. But we're not done because we've got a number attached to the y and we want the y all by itself. So we're going to divide out 2, divide out 2, divide out 2. 2y divided by 2 is y equals negative 6 over 2, that's your slope, times x minus 2 divided by 2 is 1. So negative 1 is your y-intercept. Your slope is negative 6. Rise over run, negative 6 over 2. And you've got your y. So when you get an equation in standard form, which would be any of these, and it asks you to switch it to slope-intercept form, all you're doing is setting up the original equation in this format. All right, try some of these and see how you do. Just write down the equations. Don't write the rest of this, just write your equations and see how it goes. All right, I'll talk to you soon.